Oh no. Oh no. So, look at Ed's face here. He knows. He knows that this guy's absolutely on the ropes, right? He's got him not quite 2 minutes into a 5-minute interview. Ed is smiling because he knows this guy is completely flailing now. And Ed's now got a few minutes to do his talking points, basically. He has completely made a fool of this man immediately. So since it's April Fool's Day, as I'm recording this, many happy returns to all those who celebrate, I thought I'd cover the dumbest piece of media that I could find connected to veganism. GB News, which is the British equivalent of like OAN in the States, right? It's like the new right-wing, mainstream-ish TV channel-ish, with this young lad interviewing Earthling Ed about screaming tomatoes. This guy's walking into all sorts of trouble. Let's take a look.
A new study from researchers in Israel has revealed that tomato plants scream when they're picked from their stems. So they emit airborne sounds similar to bubble wrap being popped, and that is detectable from more than 3 feet away and can be heard by animals. So what does this mean for the plant-based diet crowd and their insistence on ethical eating?
Nothing. It means nothing. They can make an audible sound when they're picked. Let's hear the description again.
Being popped, and that is detectable from more than 3 feet away and can be heard by animals.
Detectable from more than 3 feet away, as if that's any indication of anything, and can be heard by animals. They make a noise, is what he's saying. That's all that's been said. But okay.
So what does this mean for the plant-based diet crowd and their insistence on ethical eating? With me now, I'm very pleased to say, it's another Ed, I think a better Ed there. Ed Winters, who goes by Earthling Ed, is a vegan activist. How are you?
I'm very well, Patrick. How are you?
OK, right, so can you talk me through this? Now, we did check, I did check earlier whether or not it was going to offend you if we had some tomatoes in front of you and if I did remove them from their stem. You said no.
Yeah, well, the thing is...
These people love the idea that everything offends vegans. Oh, I did check if it would offend you if I picked these tomatoes in front of you. Does this guy really believe this, or is he just doing this for the audience here?
We kind of misrepresented the report a little bit.
Right.
The word scream isn't cited in the report.
Okay.
Either is the word pain or sentience or suffering. Really...
Oh no, they don't even say scream. The whole premise, the whole first intro was a misrepresentation. And look, they've got it at the bottom here. New study reveals tomato plants scream when removed from their stems. Complete lie. Screaming plants, complete lie. Ed straight in there.
Really all we discovered was that plants will release certain popping sounds due to what they believe is cavitation, which is basically the releasing of gas. So much like bacteria also emit frequencies, so do plants as well. But it doesn't mean that they suffer or feel pain.
So they don't suffer or feel pain, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of people are concerned about now, for people who are not wanting to eat meat for ethical reasons. Yeah. You know, there are these occasions...
Is anybody who doesn't eat meat for ethical reasons concerned about this? He said a lot of people are concerned now for people who don't want to eat meat for ethical reasons. I'm sure that a lot of smug parents have sent this to their kids, essentially, as if this is some sort of victory and own of veganism. But this is... I mean, if you fell for this, you were walking into absolute trouble. This guy... I just want to peanut him.
Reports that seem to pop up about potentially, you know, plants being able to communicate with each other or feel things, etc. What's your view on that then? Do you think that plants can feel things?
No, they don't have a subjective experience, which is what sentience is, which is what you and I have, and indeed animals have as well. They're intelligent, of course, but so are bacteria and viruses. They're also intelligent. But what I always say to people is, if you're genuinely concerned about plants, let's say that you think, hang on a minute, there's some good evidence that plants suffer. Well, the majority of the plants that we're growing in the UK are being used as animal feed anyway. So even as a vegan myself, I'm actually reducing animal and plant suffering by adopting a plant-based diet at the same time.
Oh no. Oh no. So look at Ed's face here. He knows. He knows that this guy's absolutely on the ropes, right? He's got him... A, the representation of the study was completely false. And B, even if it was correct, It doesn't lead to any kind of conclusion about veganism. And now we're sort of not quite 2 minutes into a 5-minute interview. Ed is smiling because he knows this guy is completely flailing now. And Ed's now got a few minutes to do his talking points, basically. He has completely made a fool of this man immediately.
Okay, I mean, that is fascinating. And can I ask, what were the main reasons for you becoming a vegan then? Presumably animal suffering, was it?
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, that is fascinating. Let's change the subject quickly. Don't want to stay on this point where I've been made to look an absolute for longer than strictly necessary.
The question I ask myself is, if I can live in a way that reduces animal suffering, why wouldn't I? And I guess that's maybe a question I could ask you. If you could live in a way that reduces animal suffering, why wouldn't you?
I love meat.
Yeah? So do you think that the enjoyment of something justifies causing harm to animals?
I think it's a tough one, really, because I also look, from my perspective, I get that I'm a massive hypocrite. I don't mind saying this, because I would not want to kill a cow.
But you pay someone to do it on your behalf.
But I pay someone to do it on my behalf. I regularly order it in a restaurant. I'm trying to think whether or not I had beef last night. I don't think I did last night, but I would eat it, right, all the time.
How do you morally justify?
This guy's like, where am I going with this? He's shuffling around in his seat because he started to say something as if he's into some sort of point, but he started the point with, I am a hypocrite. So he's sort of talking as if he's cooking. We're 2.5 minutes in, we're not even halfway. This guy must be thinking, God, this is the longest segment of my life.
Justify that then?
I either don't think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's correct, isn't it? It's honest. It's honest. I don't think about it. I just avoid thinking about it. Okay, it's about to go through another option. Let's see what his other option is. He might have a really good reason why he continues eating meat, even though he says that he could not kill an animal. Let's see what he says.
Or justify it on the grounds that me stopping doing it, I don't think would have any impact whatsoever.
What if...
So just empirically incorrect. Just empirically incorrect. And look at this guy's face, by the way. Is this the face of somebody who is being honest in this discussion and is confident in his view? Or is this the face of somebody who is saying whatever they can so that they don't have to give up meat and is basically going to run down the clock now because they realise the first thing that they came into this with was complete garbage? This guy's cooked.
Everyone says that, though. What changes then?
Well, if everyone does it, then it would stop, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
But they're not going to, are they?
Well, a lot of people are...
It doesn't have to be either everyone doing it or no one doing it. If you eat 30 chickens a year, that's 30 chickens a year. It doesn't matter from the perspective of those chickens whether there are a million other chickens also being farmed. If you were being factory farmed, do you think it would be reassuring at all if somebody said to you, well, don't worry, there are 10 million others also having this experience? That is irrelevant from the perspective of the individual suffering. In a human case, it's probably even likely to be bad, right? Because it's going to inspire dread and hopelessness to learn this. It certainly doesn't make it better. You are eating animals. This used to be an animal. What do you not get?
Already are. And if we want to create a world which is more ethical and reduces animal suffering as far as is possible, then a shift to veganism is the only
No, I get that. If everyone went vegan, no, there's no disputing that. If everyone was vegan, then fewer animals would die as a result of human...
So, we're now just over halfway. We're about 60% of the way through this interview. This guy from GB News has come in thinking he's cooking with this study about screaming tomatoes. Ed's completely waved that away in the first 2 minutes. And by the start of minute 3, this guy is saying that there's no disputing that if everyone went vegan, there would be less animal suffering. The meatheads are not sending their best.
Assumption, yeah.
And that would be a good thing, right?
I think potentially...
Let's see the interaction again here.
Create a world which is more ethical and reduces animal suffering as far as is possible, then a shift to veganism is the only
No, I get that. If everyone went vegan, no, there's no disputing that. If everyone
would create a world that's more ethical and would reduce animal suffering as much as possible, everyone went vegan. This guy says, I get that. There's no disputing that. Ed says, do you think that'd be a good thing, to create a world that's more ethical with less suffering?
everyone was vegan, then fewer animals would die as a result of human consumption. Yeah,
and that would be a good thing, right?
I think potentially it would be a good thing, but I would say that I think that there are a lot of nutritional benefits when it comes to...
Okay, so this guy now says there's no disputing that if everyone went vegan, there would be a more ethical world and fewer animal deaths, and he says that that would be a good thing. Now he's going to talk about nutrition. He's already conceded, of course, that the Screaming Tomatoes article was absolute nonsense, and that even if the findings were true from that, it wouldn't have any implications whatsoever about veganism. So this guy is 0 for 4 so far. Let's get on to nutrition. Let's see if we can get some dubs there.
Eating genuine meat, and I know that people say that they can be replicated in a plant-based diet and all
which
of this
nutrients
stuff.
are you referring to?
Well, I just think there's lots of proteins, etc., aren't there? And I would be intrigued to know about early years development. So this is one thing that I could probably do with knowing a bit more about. But when it comes...
You've known loads about everything else, mate, but here we're going to caveat. Maybe, look, I know I've been pretty infallible on the facts so far, but just to preface, this one's something I could do with knowing a bit more about.
To babies and young adults, etc., and toddlers and things like that, is it any more unhealthy for them to not eat any meat? So if they were just reared as vegans or vegetarians, for example, would that have any issue when it came to or animal products, so even things like milk, for example, like so calcium and all this stuff? Go on, talk me through it.
Well, I mean, nutrients are important for...
Notice how he's now just asking questions, right? He knows that he has got absolutely nothing. He came into this very smug, thinking this vegan's going to be triggered by me picking these tomatoes. We're not 4 minutes in, he realises he's been absolutely mogged, and now he's just basically going to take the opportunity to pick Ed's brains about nutrition.
For everyone at every stage of life, and the important question is whether or not everyone can get those nutrients. Protein's a classic one. You can get more than enough protein in plants. That's supported by the British Dietetic Association, the NHS, the American Dietetic Association, and even on the point of kids, when you look at the body of evidence and you look at the dietetic associations around the world, these are basically the associations where all of the nutrition and dietitian experts are involved in them. They point to the fact that a well-planned plant-based diet is healthy for everyone, including children.
What gets wheeled out every now and again is, I think avocados are often used as an example of this, aren't they? Where they say, well, by the time that you've grown up...
What gets wheeled out every now and again? He's not having any pretense towards actually sincerely believing in any of these anti-vegan arguments. Here's one that gets wheeled out every now and again. Are you at least going to pretend to believe the stuff that you're saying, mate?
Avocados, or you've made way for various different plantation crops, and you might have had to have reduced what was originally growing there in some South American country or something, and then shipped it over here. When you
hear the resignation in his voice as he's explaining this last point, he's like, oh god, I got 30 seconds left of this segment to go, let me just run down the clock doing a lengthy explanation about avocados, and hopefully Ed won't have the chance to mug me on any more points.
To add it all up, it's been worse for the environment than if I just killed a pig and ate it.
But that's incorrect. Right. In pigs in the UK...
Oh no, he's going to get me one more time. I thought I was home safe. He's straight in, that's incorrect.
Fed soy as well as other types of feed. The biggest driver of deforestation, the two biggest drivers of deforestation in South America, cattle farming for beef and leather, and also soybeans as well, which the vast majority from South America, 96% in fact, fed to animals in this country.
Just very quick, because we're a bit pressed for time, but how would you, oh, are we out of time? Oh, we are out of time. Oh, I've got to go, otherwise...
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Look at the relief in his face.
Tweeted off air. I'm very, very sorry about all of this, but there we go. We'll have to get you back on. Thank you very much.
Look at Ed smile, he knows he's got the absolute dub here.
We're a bit pressed for time, but how would you, oh, are we out of time? Oh, we are out of time. I'm gonna go.
It's like a David Brent, isn't it? Oh, Oh, we're out of time. Let's see it again.
Time. But how would you, oh, are we out of time? Oh, we are out of time. Oh, I've got to go, otherwise we get booted off air. I'm very, very sorry about all of this, but there we go. We'll have to get you back on. Thank you very much, though. Much appreciated.
You're welcome,
and appreciate you coming into the studio. All right, take care. Right, okay, fantastic.
Absolutely,
I enjoyed that,
mate.
actually. Ed Winters there,
Oh, yeah,
who
he
goes
seems
by
like it.
Earthling Ed and is a vegan activist. Right, I've got loads more coming your way, but as we just said, I'm out of time, so I'll see you in the next hour for loads more.
Christ, that shrug at the end, shrug of resignation. Well, did my best. Jesus. These people are embarrassing.